Hey guys, good afternoon. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, and these are your hard facts. First hard fact of the day: 62 new COVID confirmations yesterday. So I beg, you know how I always say to take your precautions. You have to limit your movement outside. You have to wear a mask. You have to give as much gap as possible from people. They'll think you're being weird, but please, 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 please. And wash and sanitize your hands as often as possible, 1 million negotiations cannot be wrong, so keep listening to Hard Facts. We'll start with the Big Three Global Edition. Let's talk about the Chadian military cracking down on protesters. Then let's talk about the COVID-19 crisis in India. And then let's talk about the central bank removing the first bank board. Yes, today's Big Three Global brings us back to Nigeria. Now, after that, as usual for Friday, we'll bring you Public Square with Agogo. And then we'll wrap up today's show with music and moments with Ifanye and Sam. Of course, news updates will come your way at the top of every hour. We could give you a chance to win some money on Just a Minute today, but let's get started with the Big Three Global Edition. I should remind you, though, that we are streaming online. We're streaming on Facebook. We're streaming on YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. That's what's happening today. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Welcome.
The Big Three Global Edition on Hard Facts.
Is France backtracking on its support for the Chadian military takeover? Can India stop COVID-19's resurgence? Why did CBN step in with First Bank? This is the Big Three Global Edition. Let's get into the stories. As you know, on Fridays, we try to let Nigeria rest and we look at the biggest stories in the entire world. Although sometimes, like with our third story, the big stories are still Nigerian stories, or they affect Nigeria as well. Our first story is Chad again. It's been less than 2 weeks since President Idris Deby died, and now there's blood in the streets. Last week, we talked about how as soon as Deby died, the military installed his son as transitional leader. That's Muhammad Deby, right? Muhammad Deby Itno. Now, opposition groups are protesting. They say that they want the constitution to be followed because under the rules, Harun Kabadi, the head of parliament, should have taken over as acting president. So this week, there have been demonstrations in Jamena and other major towns, and the army responded with force. They shot protesters in the streets. The government says 5 people died, but the opposition says the number is higher. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Now, I told you last week that France had given support to the military takeover, right? Emmanuel Macron, the French president, actually flew into Chad to meet with Deby Jr. And the French foreign minister, said that the military takeover was needed for stability. But now that there's blood on the streets, France seems to be saying something different. Here's what Macron's latest statement says. I'm in favor of a peaceful, democratic, inclusive transition. I am not in favor of a succession plan. France will never support those who pursue such a project. End quote. But anyways, back to the protests. Like I told you, people are dead. The army and police have arrested dozens of protesters, but the organizers are saying that they will not leave the streets. They say that they'll keep coming out until the military returns power to civilians. And now we've also heard from Amnesty International. They've called for an investigation into the killings of the demonstrators, those demonstrators who died. So let's get right into it, Lagos. Tell me what you think about this situation in Chad. Have you been paying attention? Why has the French government seemingly changed position? And what do you think about the protesters saying that they wouldn't leave the streets even though they're getting killed and arrested? Same thing we had happening in Myanmar. 0700-993-993-993 0700-993-993. We've got WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. We're streaming live on Facebook Nigeria Info FM. And of course, you can call us if you are a woman on 01465-7190. So 2 numbers, one for men, one for women. The one for men is 0700-993-993. 993 For women, it's 01-465-7190. We've got Twitter as well, at Nigeria Info FM. So you see, we have a lot of channels through which you can reach the studios and be a part of the show. We try to make sure that we carry as many people along as possible. Hello, thank you so much for calling us.
Yeah, Sandra, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Ezekiel, I'm calling from Nigeria.
Welcome, Ezekiel.
Sandra, there is a saying that a dog that will perish will never hear the voice of the hunter.
Okay.
So is the case of this Nigeria. You see, all those things happening in Miami, Chad, the latest one, and several ones like that, they will not still learn. You see, sovereignty belongs to the people and the power emanating thereof. Sandra, in the whole of the continent, I have read, not all, but I've not seen a country that has been so much deprived of wellness of life like Nigeria. And still, we still have so-called leaders. They're banking on falsehood. You see, the one in this country, oh my God. Let's leave matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling. 99.3, hello. Hello.
Sandra.
Thanks for calling. What's your name?
My name is Yusuf.
Good to have you on the show,
I'm
Yusuf.
fan of you right now. You're amazing.
Thank you.
To be honest, you see, this country is something else. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
Because one, I'm also an artist as well,
Okay.
which I found it very amazing. Like, during the NSAS, it was more worse than I thought.
Okay.
But on a second thought, Sandra, what do you think if down for once and then realize that they're supposed to not be killing people unnecessarily, which is bad enough?
So the line dropped off a little bit, so I didn't hear what you said there. What do I think what?
What do you think about the military that's just using people's life up and down? What do you think?
What do I think about... Oh, Yusuf, sorry about that. Now, to be clear, we're not talking about the Nigerian military. We're talking about the military in Chad. That's what our first story is. Last week, their president died. The military installed his son as a transitional ruler. That's Mahamat Debi Itno. Opposition groups are protesting in Chad. They say that they want the constitution to be followed because under their constitution, the head of parliament, Harun Kabadi, should be the acting president. He's the one who should have taken over as acting president. But instead, we had the military take over and install the son of the dead president, who was second in command in the fight against the rebels in Chad. This week, civilians went into the streets to demonstrate in cities like N'Djamena and other major towns as well. The army responded with force. They shot protesters in the streets. Government says 5 people died. Opposition says number is higher. And even though we had France that gave its support last week, this week they seem to be singing a different tune. So last week, we had Emmanuel Macron and the French foreign minister fly into Chad. And they said that the military takeover was needed for stability. But now that there's blood on the streets, now that people have actually died, France is saying, I'm in favor of a peaceful, democratic, inclusive transition. I'm not in favor of a succession plan. France will never support those who pursue such a project. So even France seems to be changing its tune now. But the major thing we're talking about with this story are the protests. People are dead, like I said. The army, the police have arrested dozens of protesters. But the organizers of the protests have said we're not going to stop until power returns from military to civilians, even though they're getting killed. So my question is, what you think about the protesters who are out there, who are continuing this, and who are saying, we will not leave the streets even though we are getting killed, even though we're getting arrested. Much like what happened in Myanmar. Remember when we were covering Myanmar on Big 3 Global Edition? Now, Fridays, we allow Nigeria rest a bit and we go away to international stories and we look at huge stories from different parts of the world. Sometimes the big stories are still Nigerian stories, like our third story, for instance. But today, we've got Chad in the news. What do you think about that situation there? Have you been paying attention? Why has the French government seemingly changed position? And what do you think about the protesters saying that they won't leave the streets, even though they're getting killed, even though they're getting arrested? 0700-993-993 01465-7190. Hello, thanks for calling us. Sorry about that. Call back if you can. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Hard Facts. What's your name?
This is Anderson calling from Maryland.
Welcome, Anderson.
Anderson.
Oh, okay. Welcome.
Yes, concerning Chad. I think the first reason why France supported the military transition was because they felt that the son of Idris Deby was the number 2 in command in fighting the terrorists, either in Mali or in northern Chad.
Mm-hmm.
So they were the main partner of France in fighting terrorists in the whole of West Africa.
Mm-hmm.
You know, France Chad is the only country that can send out thousands and thousands of troops, while other African countries in West Africa can send 200, 300.
Okay.
But Deby was ready to volunteer 2,000, 3,000. He was even on the way to, he was about to send 1,200 again to northern Mali.
Okay.
But now, the issue is France was supporting him because of their own interest. Now, during the manifestation, during the protest, people destroyed French company. They went to Total Filling Station and set it ablaze. And they were singing song against France. They were singing, in fact, they were demonstrating. They have placards on which they read, Chad is not French colony.
Okay.
So that is one of the major reasons why Macron realized that it was not in the best interest of France to support the son of Deby now, even though the son himself said he's not going to contest in the general election.
Mm-hmm.
But they felt this the wrong time. But there is a problem. When that man died, they went, the president of National Assembly, who's supposed to take over and organize the election, the man was so afraid, nobody really, he said he cannot. That at this particular time that a child is facing different interaction in different parts of the country, it will not be good for him as a civilian to take over.
Mm-hmm.
So the man abandoned. I can say he abandoned the power to the military.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the very important
aspects of the story.
They say the person, but he said he's not interested.
Mm-hmm.
That the constitution says he should take over, but he's not ready to take over at this particular time that Chad is facing military incursion into Chad from different corners.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the reason why he refused.
Yes.
Then the problem is that why the son of Deby instead of somebody else. That's the way the question is. So
Yeah, but even away from the son of Deby, I mean, they were a democracy, right? It's still somehow for military to take over, right? Because in more and more places in the world, people are making sure that we have civilian governments, not military governments, right? So even if the head of the parliament said, I don't want to take over, what if the second in command in parliament says, okay, let me take over, or the minority leader, or anybody else but the military? Do you think
that is exactly the issue, Sandra? What they are saying is that the Chad Constitution said the president of National Assembly will take over and nothing else. Because everybody was saying the deputy should have taken over since the man
said no,
taken out. But they say the Constitution is silent on that.
Yeah.
So the military now they took advantage of that situation to take over. But I think they cannot. It's not possible for them to succeed because the way the opposition is going and the rebels in the north are coming down. So even if that the Deby is not careful, he's going to be swept away by the rebellion that is coming from the northern Chad.
Okay, I loved talking to you. Thank you very much for calling. I like it when people pay attention to what's happening in other parts of the world. 99.3, hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Ebuka.
Ibuka, welcome.
Yeah. Just like the last caller, taking away sentiment and emotion in most of these things, I want to ask, why is it that we always like to boycott law? You know, democracy is kind of a law set in the land. If the military were to take over, what is their place? Is it not to make sure law and order is set in the land? What gets they are fighting the rebels and everything, but taking power by cutting democracy law is injustice. You know, saying that, okay, like the man explaining that the man that meant to take you over taken out. it shouldn't be by force. So, okay, your father died, then the son take over. Is there no way they supposed to follow law so that Africans as it is can be people that follow whatever thing they have agreed to do, play the law. You get not that you by certain things because you have the power, the winners take it all. Is a thing that you should put in the past. I beg. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for calling me, Ebuka. 99.3, hello. Sorry about that. We'll take a final call and then move on to our second story. Hello, thanks for calling.
Hello.
How are you? Thanks for calling.
Sandra.
Yes.
Mr. Darlington.
Mr. Darlington, long time no hear.
Now, wow.
What's happening?
You have gone to the moon and come back. And we did not even greet ourselves.
Turn your radio off so we can hear each other.
Okay, dear. So how are you?
I'm fine, dear. How are you?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Now, Sandra, the major reason why Debbie's son took over is because Debbie has a large following. He has been there for too long, and he has followers in the military especially. And they know that if a new person comes in now, those loyalists will not agree with him.
Okay.
That was why they had to put the son to see if they can contend the rebels. That was the major reason.
Okay.
And France knew this. That was why he supported military. But he never knew that these things will get out of hand like this.
But again, would France support military takeover in France? Why is it only in Africa that these Western countries will say, let military take over?
That is it. That has been the case. When we don't have African leader who can think, that is what happened. If things had gone smoothly, Macron wouldn't have come to Chad to come and preach democracy. He couldn't, after all, he supported it initially. But when he saw things getting out of hand now, he's now speaking a new tone. If we had leaders in Africa who can manage things, will things happen like this? It can never happen. So he didn't reckon with the determination of Chadian people and the rebels. He didn't. So when things are getting out of hand, the same man is now coming back to speak a new language. And you think the military will take him serious? They will see it as an embarrassment that civilians want to topple them. That is your ego. Just like in Myanmar. How can the bloody civilian tell us what to do? You know? Even if you bring a civilian in charge today, Sandra, he will never make any headway. Things have gone too far. Seriously. A man in office for 30 years, and you are now replacing him with the son. What do you think the people there? Look, humanity are the same. Humanity, injustice, it has the same reaction all over the world. The moment you treat a people in a very bad way somewhere, it will resonate to other people somewhere else. That is it. Some people are holding a security meeting in Abuja. They are moving it from one place to the other. You think it's for you? No. It is because of what is going on in Chad. It's coming home. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Darlington. Thank you very much for calling. Story, or should I take a few extra calls? I'm just sorry. This one, you want to get in on it. In COVID-19 situation, it's now an epic tragedy. That's our second story. Yesterday alone, the country confirmed more than 386,000 new cases. That's a world record. They also confirmed 3,500 new deaths. Total COVID deaths in India are now almost 200,000. We're getting reports right now that the city of New Delhi no longer has enough capacity for all the cremations taking place. There's now a backlog of bodies waiting to be cremated. Hospitals are also beyond capacity in most parts of the country. And of course, that means that more people are dying since they cannot get medical help. I read a headline when I was coming into the studio about this family where they were rationing the oxygen between the father and the mother and the first son of the family. And we talked about some of the reasons behind the crisis. Has found a new strain of the virus, which seems to have stronger symptoms for younger people. They're also seeing the strain that was first detected in the UK, which also affects more young people than the original COVID-19 strain. But the scientists and the public health experts are pointing to other factors as well. First of all, vaccination rates in India are still relatively low. Second, socialization rates have gone up. Basically, people have stopped paying attention to social distancing. There seemed to be a general feeling that the worst was over. You know what? Let's take that announcement and then we'll come back and continue the story.
Nearing your forte, or are you an excellent sales? Which of these can you do excellently? If your answer was yes to any of these questions, vacancies are available just for you. Forward your CV to jobs@we-tv.tv. Application closes on Friday, April 30th, 2021.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
If you're like me, that has to deal with heavy downloads and a need to be connected, then you need a 9 mobile MiFi or router. At the office, at home, and on the go. Never worry about a steady connection. Buy any of our MiFi or router data bundles for as low as 16,000 naira and get a free 4G MiFi or router. Just visit any 9 Mobile Experience Center or authorized 9 Mobile dealer outlet to get yours. Terms and conditions apply.
9 Mobile.
Hey Ali, how are you?
I'm tired, Shadi. My bank is bashing my head with charges.
Have I not shown you how to break free from sufferhead banking?
Is it that kudo something?
Kuda, Ali. It's Kuda.
That one, Kuda. Are they even safe?
Hey, wait till I start. They don't charge me account or card maintenance fees.
Why does it charge with debit card I don't have?
My Kuda card was free and delivered to my house free. I have never paid a naira for owning this card.
What about transfers?
Kuda will give you 25 free transfers to other banks every single month for the rest of your life.
You're right, Sha. Shadi. Is your hotspot on?
Better use your own data.
Shadi. Kuda Microfinance Bank gives you an account with free transfers, a free card, and 0 ridiculous fees. Break free now. Get Kuda on Google Play or the App Store now and open a full bank account in a few minutes. Kuda, the bank of the free.
If you're like me, that has to deal with heavy downloads and a need to be connected, then you need a 9 mobile MiFi or router. At the office, at home, and on the go. Never worry about a steady connection. Buy any of our MiFi or router data bundles for as low as 16,000 naira and get a free 4G Mobile Experience Center or authorized 9 Mobile dealer outlets to get yours. Terms and conditions apply.
9 Mobile.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
The Big Three. Global edition on Hard Facts.
It's 3:27. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Sorry about that rude interruption while we were talking. But yes, I was telling you about India. I was telling you about their COVID-19 crisis. And I told you it's an epic strategy at the moment, epic tragedy at the moment. Yesterday alone, the country confirmed more than 386,000 new cases. I told you that's a new record for the world. I told you that 3,500 people have died so far. And they've had almost 200,000 deaths, actually. So they confirmed 3,500 deaths yesterday, and so far they're now at almost 200,000 deaths. And the reason for that is that they have a stronger strain spreading in India. This new strain they found in India, new strain of the virus, of COVID-19 virus, it seems to have a much stronger effect on younger people. They also seen that strain that was first detected in the UK also in India, and it's affecting more young people than the original as well. Now, scientists and public health experts are also saying that vaccination rates in India are relatively low because Indians are actually worse than us as far as conspiracy theories spread via WhatsApp are concerned. I think they actually invented that stuff, you know. So they have that going on, which means people are not taking the vaccines, even though they are the makers of the vaccines, right? And people have also stopped paying attention to social distancing. So they're doing all their festivals, they're going to the beach, they're just living life like the worst has passed. Remember, I told you that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that COVID-19 has been defeated. Now, Modi is asking the international community for help because this new wave is really stretching India's resources. So, for example, there's a serious oxygen shortage. I told you about the family where they were rationing oxygen between the father and the mother and the first son of the family. And they had to carry it car by car as they were driving throughout different cities looking for a hospital that could admit them. Some people do that until they pass on in their cars or on the streets. You see multiple videos being spread on social media of multiple fires, family members cremating their loved ones. India is trying its best to solve the oxygen shortage problem. They've set up an oxygen train. It's basically a train that moves oxygen from states that have surplus to states that are in crisis. But the oxygen is still not enough. So now France is sending over 8 large oxygen plants to help India produce more. Some other countries are also giving them ventilators, oxygen concentrators. You have the UK, you have Austria, you have Germany doing all of that. And everyone's just putting their hands together to put out this particular fire. But the other thing that India needs desperately is vaccines. The US President Joe Biden has changed his mind and is now saying that America will provide. Earlier on, he said that vaccines for now, but there was backlash, right, from his own party, from Americans, and so he changed his position. And the big question now is, can what is happening in India also happen elsewhere, like Africa? John Kengason had to say something. He said something. He's a director of the Africa Center for Disease Control, ACDC. And he said, quote, "We cannot enshrine ourselves in an area of fragile nature as far as healthcare is concerned." End quote. So basically, Africans should look at what's happening in India and advise themselves. I mean, Africa is also under-vaccinated, so this means that the virus has a lot of potential hosts to replicate in. And the more a virus replicates, the more mutations it creates, the more likely that one of those mutations ends up being deadly enough to be a serious problem. And since vaccinated, that variant could easily spread everywhere. And just like in India, most African societies seem to have relaxed when it comes to COVID. People are not masking up as much. People are mixing and mingling. There's a lot of parties going on. There's a lot less social distancing. And so my question for you is, do you think that if a new, deadlier, faster spreading COVID variant, like the one in India, were to appear in Nigeria, that we'll be able to handle it? Do you think that if a new, deadlier, faster spreading COVID variant like the one in India were to appear in Nigeria, we would be able to handle it here? And do you think the rest of the world would run to help us in Nigeria the way they are running to help India? Or do you think we're going to be on our own? What do you think about this situation in India? Have you been paying attention? 0700-993-993 993 01465 7190 01465 7190. That number is women. For men, 0700-993 993 993. You can still talk to me about this. I told you we've got protesters on the street. They need to leave the streets, even though we are getting killed, until power changes hands from military to civilian rule again. And why has the French seemingly changed position? Remember, I told you that they went from saying, yes, it's okay for the military to be in charge because they could ensure stability, to, well, we don't want, a transition that is not peaceful or democratic or inclusive, where we're not in favor of a succession plan. France will not support those that pursue succession plans. What do you think about that change in position? And yes, do tell me, do you think that if a new, deadlier, faster spreading COVID variant like the one in India were to appear in Nigeria, we'll be able to handle it? 99.3, hello.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Thanks for calling, sir. What's your name?
My name is Emmanuel.
Welcome, Emmanuel.
Yeah. We talk about this COVID-19 something of India.
Mm.
I beg you, may it remain for that side. We don't need them for our side.
But if you come here, it is a handle am.
In short, we don't need them, and by the name of Jesus, you don't come. We as Africa, we like God. So
it is say Indians no like God.
No.
They like God though. They get more than 80 gods. They like God pass you.
That's the punishment. But because Bible have already talked it. It said the heart refused to repent. It will see the repercussion of it.
But
So
no be arrogance to talk say the Bible God na be the main God. All the other gods no be real gods. No be arrogance.
Until Sandra, forget God is our strength, so nothing will happen. We have already protected by the blood.
I like that. The blood go finish. Jesus go send Peter say make it off that blood. Off that blood. 200 million people. I beg now. And I won't kill the man again. 99.3. Hello.
Hi, Sandra.
How are you? What's your name? Good afternoon.
My name is Shay. I'm calling from Lekki Traffic.
Shay. Good to have you on the show. What's happening in Lekki? I don't understand.
I'm not sure. I think it's the Friday thing of I don't know, where everybody goes to on Friday. I was curious, but I have a question for you before I answer your question.
Okay.
Why do you have a separate number for women and one for men?
So that we have equal access to conversations. Because you have so statistically we have more men listening to Nigeria Info than women, so that means we have more men trying to call into Nigeria Info than women, right? But if women had their own lines that they were calling into, so all those women will be vying for that number and all the men will be vying for their own number.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay, I see. I
Yeah.
see now. Okay. Whether the virus, whether we will be able to withstand it here in Nigeria, I am not sure.
Okay.
There has been a massive desensitization. I think everybody feels that, COVID is already past. So people just walk around, like you said, with no mask, no distancing, nothing.
So we're basically doing what India did before India became India.
Exactly more. That's exactly what we're doing.
It's
And
okay.
I think that the world may come to rescue us if it happens, God forbid. But because, everybody now sees that this is a global problem. It's not just, it's happening in Nigeria and it will affect only Nigerians. No, because Nigerians are going to fly. People are going to come into Nigeria, from different countries.
What if they simply just ban flights from Nigeria, the same way they've done for India? And again, you can't compare the number of Indians who are traveling all over the world to the number of Nigerians who are traveling all over the world.
Well, I agree, but remember that they also have interest in Nigeria. There's also a lot of, international business here.
Right.
So
right.
As much as you want to ban flights and stuff like that, I think that only be a temporary solution. I don't think that's a permanent one. I think so. It will be in everybody's interest to look for or to insist or hope for to go for a permanent solution of more people vaccinated and everybody still masking up, and taking all the precautions and stuff like that.
Right. Thank you very much for calling and all the best in traffic, 99.3. Sorry about that. Call back if you can. Hello, 99.3. Okay, it's all right. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Yeah, Chinedu, calling from Ajawa State.
Good to have you on the show, Chinedu. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sandra, you, for a couple of minutes now, you have been talking and promoting this vaccine. What's the significance of this vaccine? Because I've gotten some messages on my WhatsApp. They let me to know that even if you are vaccinated yourself, it doesn't protect it. It doesn't stop of you catching it. It doesn't stop you of cancer.
Research has actually shown that doesn't stop you from catching it, but research has actually shown that you're more likely to not catch it if you're vaccinated. And if you're vaccinated, you're definitely not going to be hospitalized. You're definitely, if you're vaccinated and you catch it, you're definitely not going to have a terrible version of the illness. So you have a virus, but you don't have the disease. The disease is the one that sends you to the hospital looking for oxygen, probably kills you if you have other comorbidities. But if you're vaccinated and you get it, there are high chances you won't get it. But if you do get it, you won't even realize you got it because you'll be asymptomatic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to understand.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling. We've got more people calling in. 99.3.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
My name is Susan. I'm calling from traffic. Lucky.
Susan, welcome.
Yeah. So I was opportune to be at Lagos Market today,
Okay.
and honestly, what I encountered was it's just baffling. It's like we're living in a world of our own. I had masks on. I was passing by a shop, and there were people actually looking at me with this, smile on their face. Why are you still wearing masks? One of them even asked me, "Why are you still wearing masks? There's no COVID here." It's just amazing how we live. I just pray we don't encounter what India is encountering.
Do you
now.
think we can handle it?
It's bad. I don't think we can. It will be very terrible. Enjoying God in this country, and we take it for granted. COVID is real, and people are living it's like nobody is bothered anymore. It's as if there's no more COVID. I don't understand. Every day I go out with masks, people look at me. You only see people wear masks when they enter supermarkets because they insist. But it's not even a necessity for most people. It's scary. It's scary. I just hope we don't get to that situation.
Susan, thank you very much for calling to share your thoughts. It's coming in, but let's move on to our final story on today. Now, like I say all the time, we bring you stories from all over the world, but sometimes those stories are Nigerian stories or they affect Nigeria. The Central Bank of Nigeria has sacked the boards of First Bank and its holding company FBN. That's our third story. Here's what happened. Earlier in the week, First Bank announced that its MD CEO, Shola Adedontan, was retiring. They announced his replacement. After that, CBN came out and basically reversed the decision. They reinstated Adedontan, but they also replaced all the other directors of the bank's board and the ones on the board of FBN. Because the CBN governor himself, Godwin Emefiele, says that, let me break down the answers that he gave. He agreed that normally a bank has a right to change its directors on its own and just get approval from CBN. But he said First Bank's case is special. He said the central bank has been providing serious help to First Bank since 2016, when the bank got into a serious crisis. A crisis caused by non-performing loans, many of which were insider loans. Now, in banking, an insider loan is when a bank lends money to a member of its board or one of its officers. Insider lending is normally very strictly regulated so that people with power in the bank don't use it to take money and put the bank in difficulty. But according to Emefiele, First Bank was not only not following the insider lending rules, and some of its directors were collecting very heavy loans without the bank securing proper collateral. And also, according to Emefiele, First Bank's capital adequacy ratio was too low. Basically, compared to the amount of lending and risk that the bank was handling, the capital on its books was too low. So because of that, since 2016, the CBN has been worried about First Bank. Now, if First Bank goes into distress, it could affect the entire banking system. The bank accounts for 22% of bank transfers on NIP. So instead of cracking down on them, CBN decided to step in, give them a grace period to fix up. They wanted them to restructure all the non-performing insider loans. But Emefiele says that up till today, First Bank has not done the needful. So when First Bank wanted to change MDs, CBN asked them not to do it. CBN said it wanted stability at the bank while all of these issues are worked out. But apparently, First Bank did not listen to CBN and they went ahead. So that's the situation there. Now, I want you to share with me what you think about this thing. Do you think that CBN did the right thing by dissolving the boards? In the last 5 years, have they handled the balance sheet crisis at First Bank in the best way possible? And for those of you in the banking sector and in finance, give me a call as well and tell me how common non-performing insider loans are. How well does the CBN regulate this particular issue of what's it called now? Non-performing insider loans. 0700 993 993 993 0700 993 993 993. By the way, this our third story on Big Three Global is a business story brought to you by Zcrest. Zcrest is an asset management company. Hello, thank you very much for calling us. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for
Good
calling.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Nicholas is the name.
Nicholas, welcome. Thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Okay. Based on the last story you just read,
Mm-hmm.
as an ex-banker,
Mm-hmm.
we see this happening a lot.
Okay.
Because sometimes the owners try to show strength that they are the owners of the bank,
Okay.
forgetting the fact that shareholders are also part of the owners of the bank.
Okay.
So I actually appreciate what the CBN governor did
Okay.
by dissolving that board.
Okay.
I've worked with the chairman of the board of directors,
Mm-hmm.
Otudeko himself, for some time.
Okay.
And most of us actually know the heavy-handedness that goes along with things like this.
I see.
So if the CBN governor actually feels that it is time to protect the depositors, then they should actually have the strength to come in and stop everything.
I see.
Remove the board and let the MD be able to stabilize the bank.
I see.
Just as you said, imagine the bank going
Into distress.
bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
That will be a lot of problems.
Mhm.
Seriously, in fact, it will affect the entire banking sector in Nigeria.
Hmm.
So I think they have done the right thing, and kudos to him for doing that.
All right then. Thank you very much for calling. 99.3. Hello.
Hello, hi Sandra.
How you doing? What's your name?
My name is Shade.
Hi, Shade.
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
Good. Good to have you on the show.
Yes. So to the second story first.
Hmm.
I've been telling people since last month that the more we behave like COVID is gone, the more we have the chances of one of the variants coming from Nigeria.
Hmm.
I said, look at it. South Africa had the stubborn one. It was an African country. India has one now. And I've been thinking that, we're going to have one. The odds are just looking like we are going to develop a variant here because of the way we're taking it. Handle it. Everybody says no, pray against it. It's not going to happen. Okay, so I've joined them in praying. I wear my mask and I wash I do social distancing.
We'll plead
but
the
I'm
blood
also
of
joining
Jesus.
because, if majority are not taking it seriously and no one wants to get vaccinated, I mean, what are we going to act surprised if a strong new variants come from Nigeria? No, we shouldn't act surprised, but we're not going to handle it. And also, First Bank story.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know First Bank was 4 or 5 years ago?
Did I know what? Say that again.
That First Bank was in distress. Like CBN had to step in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know about that. So I think they did a good job, like
Keeping it
2016.
quiet, right?
Yes. And so for the bank board of directors and co to want to not play ball and act right, yeah, it was a good thing they took them out. I'm not a banking person, but based on the fact that I didn't even know they were in distress, I'm like, kudos to CBN. They did the right thing.
Okay. All right, Shade. Thank you very much for calling. Let's listen to our sponsors. We'll come back and take a few more calls. Lagos, don't go away.
Need to save for a new car, house rent, or your next vacation? Or be financially ready to get yourself a COVID vaccine next year? Let Zimvest Aspire keep you in check. Need low-risk investment option with attractive rates? Zimvest High Yields is your best bet. Zcrest Investment Managers. Zimvest is a SEC-licensed asset management company. At Zimvest, professional asset managers with industry expertise dedicate time into preserving your wealth. Zimvest has a web platform that enables you invest in a range of investment products that offers you good returns. Visit www.zimvest.com.ng to get started. Zimvest, demystifying wealth from creation to distribution for all.
All right, Lagos, let's talk. 0700-993-993-993. Let's take a few calls and then we'll tell you more about Zimvest. 99.3, hello. Sorry about that. Thank you very much for calling. Hello. Good evening.
Hello, Sandra. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name, sir?
Yeah, this is Ray Observer.
Hi. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I want to take the first story. You see, Sandra, let's not lie to ourselves.
Okay.
African is richly blessed with abundant mineral resources.
Okay.
That is the reason why the Western world are always interested when anything goes wrong in our affairs here. You see, and one thing there is that I don't know, the orientation needs to, we're in the 21st century. The orientation of our leaders ought to have changed long time ago. There's a constitution. Why not, if anything happened, I'm talking about what's it called, Chad crisis. There's a constitution on ground. A sitting president passed on. The issue there, you go by the constitution and just put the other person so that okay.
Yeah, but what happens when the person who is supposed to take over says, "Oh, more I no fit, I beg, crisis day."
Sandra,
and that's what happened. The person who was supposed to take over reportedly said, "I know do." Mm-hmm.
No, Sandra. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
The African system. There is something I'm running now against the African system. The African system. The man didn't say they will just come up on the media and say, "Oh, the man said he doesn't want."
Fair.
Who doesn't want power, Sandra? If you're called upon now to become a governor of your state and everyone votes for you, will you say you don't want? Who would they want to give power on a platter of gold, and the person will say no? Let's take, for instance, what happened back in Nigeria during the Shoneko and Abacha. What did they say? They said Shoneko stepped aside and Abacha took over. But we all knew what happened. This man must have been threatened or something, and he said, "Oh, please, I don't want," since he's a military kind of backup, because of the time, because the man has allies in the country. He has people. He has been there for over 3 decades. So for a civilian to just pop up like that, somebody that has not been in the military to just pop up like that, they'll tell you, "Man, sit right there. Don't come close. This is not child's play." And the man will quietly, they'll just come on the news and say, "Oh, the man said it." Even if he says he doesn't want, they have somebody. And there's a second in command or third in command. They should give it to that person. Why didn't they give it? And France coming out to play, the good, because the France quietly know that. They know that the constitution should be followed. Right. That's why they are now changing their destiny. So I just want to employ African leaders should think right when doing something. We should obey. If we are practicing, if we want to practice democracy, let the rule of law, let the constitution that govern the country be abided to. All this going about and giving when a judge gives a case in law and they'll just tell you no, the security supersedes everything. Where we're doing our own, we should obey the constitution, and things will start doing things rightly, and things will start working rightly for us in Nigeria and Africa. Have a good evening.
You too, sir. Thank you very much for calling. Now, our final story, let me remind you, was brought to you by Zquest Investment. We're talking about a regulator stepping in, right? Reportedly to protect investors and customers. Now, as an asset management company, who regulates or registers Zquest? How do you provide value for your customers?
Okay, so first of all, before I come to that question, it's very important that let us know what exactly Zenvest does.
Okay.
Okay, so Zenvest is not just an asset manager or securities manager. It's one thing to be a securities manager, it's another thing to be a licensed securities manager.
Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info.